Yay. No. So it's a game for people that like a challenge. Generic intro into theduckgoesmoo here, back with another Max0r video, and today we're doing Bloodborne, Defeat God's Doll Waifu Simulator. I don't know anything about Bloodborne, but I don't think it's one of those games. I want to say it's a game that's kind of like Dark Souls and Elden Ring and whatnot, other games that I haven't really played. I played a little bit of Dark Souls and streamed a little bit, and I haven't touched it in like over 5 years. You can check out my reaction to the last Max0r video I did, which was his Resident Evil 4 remake video. I'll leave it right up there, also link down below in the description, and I really should make a Max0r playlist on my channel because I absolutely love his videos, and I look forward to every single one of them. This was almost a cyberpunk video, or I don't know, there's so many Max0r videos, or incorrect summary of Devil May Cry 5, which I actually think I have those games. I think Rafat gifted me those games on Steam, which I might play to at some point. Right now I'm playing to Undertale on Saturdays on Twitch, which is linked down below in the description. You can also join my Discord server, get notified every single time I go live on Twitch, and I sometimes talk to chat through that. Sometimes people that I'm playing with will talk, and like instead of game chat, we'll use Discord to talk through that, so stream can hear you as well, which is a lot of fun. But like I said, shout out to the patrons. They get the videos there early. Allow me to have a Pay 1 channel. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you're subscribed so you don't miss future videos. Let me know what the next Max0r video should be. The last one was the Resident Evil 4 remake, which literally the game before I started playing Undertale was the Resident Evil 4 remake for the very first time ever, because I'd never played Resident Evil 4 before. But I'm gonna learn about Bloodborne. Apparently a lot of people are gonna be like, no, this is not accurate, but when I see a thumbnail like that talking about a game that my mindset is something Elden Ring, I have no idea what to expect. Let's get on into it. Alright.
You have spoilers. Bloodborne is a Lovecraftian horror RPG that no one
Okay, so it is like a Souls game.
Where the player is
free
to attack
is it made by software?
Children at will and consume their innards. If that in-depth and engaging anti-baby gameplay appeals to you, keep listening, because
Max's voice sounds weird.
In this game, you play as John Bloodborne, a foreigner incapable of speech without the use of sign language, and
so how does he communicate?
Disease comes to the ancient city of London, seeking treatment for the sins of his cousins. In doing so, he will begin hallucinating talking dolls, spider people, and the great
what?
John Bloodborne becomes constricted into the service of a gay elder god and the 60-year-old man he keeps as a pet, and is given the ultimate task of killing an invisible infant in order to cure his anemia. To accomplish that Herculean task, the player must journey through dark forests.
His editing's not going crazy, but his
talking of a post-Brexit Britain, slaying monsters, exploring, and tricking women into being impregnated by gods so you can consume the child. This game is an excellent realization of a Metroidvania with something new
Metroid, no.
A great action RPG which pits you against insurmountable odds and extreme challenges, and has a gripping story and lore about discovering the Eldritch truth. So if you can, play it yourself, because I'm not going to hold back on the details. It's no secret that my reviews are entertainment first, so I don't suggest using me as genuine advice. However, most people can't play this game, ever, because you have to buy a $400 magical box sold by the wizard Sony.
Wait, it's only on PlayStation?
And you get to see it in an amazing 30 frames per second with no anti-aliasing. Port this game to PC, I beg of you. In fact,
did they actually? Probably did.
A lot of people watching this video will basically never play the game, but keep watching because I'm hilarious and original. Do that, and I can give you the full, unfiltered, uncensored, unsubstantiated,
it must be like a
exclusive rights that is Bloodborne.
Oh, we get the song, which is isn't the song from Persona? I definitely want to say it's
what makes this game great, and the easiest way to describe it is simple but complicated. On a simple level,
we're going back to back.
Brain is responsible for only 2 tasks: dodging and hitting. And
dodging
in this game renders you temporarily invincible. Sounds easy, right?
I was not good at Dark Souls.
Single enemy is
for the
adjusted
3 streams I played.
Basic enemies are basically able to whoop your ass into fucking non-existence. Every encounter, therefore, is tense and engaging. When you kill someone, it's because you were faster and had more meths than they did. On a complicated level, you have a gun, and normally bullets kill people. But in London, bullets are a suggestion. Like the
bullets are a suggestion.
Here in England, it's all about the knife bins. Except when you shoot somebody mid-attack, you gain the mystical and arcane ability to plunge your fist through their ribcage like Mortal Kombat and rip out their heart, which is considered rude and a slight annoyance.
But it doesn't kill them
if you charge an attack, which sometimes causes you to reach up a pig's asshole and rip
out
by the foot. Note, the most optimal farming route for currency in this game is called Murgo's Pig Fisting Route. See, I changed the webpage, and in this route, you sneak up behind this guy and do him the dirty. Then entice entice these two swinular bastards to be mauled to death by members of Organization 13. Repeat 50
what
times.
Is that supposed
on
to be?
A complicated level, every single weapon in the game has 2 different modes with 2 different movesets, and transforming between them gives you special attacks in addition to running attacks, plunging attacks,
Oh, this game gets so...
Your character memorizes squiggly lines and fridge art created by gods for
this
passive
game
bonuses
gets
that
complex like that.
weaponry. My favorites are more money, and more money.
More money.
Finally, on a meta-theoretical chiropractic level, every weapon is customizable with different gem slots that give differing effects for your attacks.
Oh, I like
there are
that.
different types that can
That's
literally
cool.
change all of the stats of the weapon, like making a fucking spear do more damage based off of intelligence. There's definitely a lot of strategy in how you level up your character,
I guess where you
but
stab?
I assume that you know how to level up in a fucking video game. But
Yeah.
with all this combat prowess, you may be wondering, Max0r, who are these crusty abominations that you're fighting on screen? Well, to learn that much,
what are
we're going
they?
to have to delve into the lore. So buckle your britches, bitches, because this shit
nope,
is
not
wrong.
going to.
If I say
Why does it have a
something
cage on their
questionable,
head?
just accept it as fact. I can be trusted. 60 years ago, 20 rowdy college students took their education extremely seriously because
Way
they
too seriously.
found Woman Cthulhu. She was just
Woman
in a portable toilet
Cthulhu?
downstairs. Also, because they were bored, they beat to death a god of the sea with some bats, but that's a story for later. It turns out the entire world is ruled and created by a race of elder gods beyond human comprehension called the Great Ones. Figuring this out,
Great
they got
Ones? They don't
Cthulhu's
sound that
blood
great.
and were like, we can make a religion out of this.
Giving it the Bill Words
Blood can heal
reference.
people, which is really good due to all the knife crime. So everyone starts drinking it a little too much, and they get the money to build 36 cathedrals. But it turns
Not
out
37, not
eventually the blood
35.
turns you into a werewolf. So the church hires a guy named German to go fight the beasts
Of course
with
he
an
is.
organization known as the Hunters. But there's too many beasts, so he gives up. Now the knife crime has increased even more, and German sort of goes insane and creates a life-size doll of one of his students who is an 8-foot-tall Amazonian. He also canonically has sex with it. The moon god, for some reason, kind of takes notice of this and is like, all right, listen, I'm building a suicide squad. I will bring your waifu to laifu if you serve me for all time as my slave. German reasonably thinks that this is a great deal and is imprisoned in a dream. This is where
In a
you come
dream?
in.
Wait,
see, the moon god
is it all a
assassinates
dream?
baby gods for fun, but needs a hitman to go into the real world to do it since he's confined to the ninth dimension. So in addition to fighting all manner of giant beasts and uncovering dark secrets,
So do you play
the
as
true
German?
aim of this game is to commit infanticide. There's enough bullshit here to fill tax
Infanticide? Is that a
legislation.
word?
So comment your own poorly summarized Bloodborne lore below. And for the rest of us non-shills, we have ample time to explain more.
It might not be completely accurate. I don't expect it to be, but that seems like the really short version.
I am talking about bosses before I talk about the levels. In most video games, bosses cap off areas, but in Bloodborne, areas are preambles to a dick flattening, and nothing will challenge your skill in quite the same way. Except for the goddamn Witches of Hemwick, who were placed into the game for disability access. You can probably tell that Bloodborne is a hard game. We don't even know if a games journalist can beat it. But it's hard in a fair way.
I could not beat this game. There's no way.
Lawrence, but I'll get back to Lawrence later. What sets this game's bosses apart is that the challenge makes it feel like you're a really small dude jabbing a toothpick into a building-sized deer demon. So yeah, I would be impressed if he killed that. But not only that, unlike Dark Souls, every single boss reacts meaningfully to how you attack them. Large beasts can have their bones cracked and their tendons wound into a slinky. Bone boys can be knocked over and have their marrow shipped. And human enemies will wince and recoil when they see your height difference. As well, every boss punishes you for cowardice and actively discourages backpedaling with their forward momentum, causing every fight to be an elaborate dance with a thrilling back and forth. Unless you're
don't run
Braum,
away.
Who is the really hungry caterpillar if he had a legion of arachnid slaves who threw their heads underground.
Are they on water?
We don't talk about him. And while we're on the subject of
talk
bad
about him.
bosses, this motherfucker, let me tell you something. The humanoid bosses in this game are paradoxically the most dangerous. But Mikolash is a psychological hazard that will hurt you personally. This boss literally feels like cut content because the fight centers around chasing him.
Well, you have
and
to
his
chase him.
depends
Needs
on
to go
RNG,
left,
making him an actual speedrun killer. When you corner him, he uses one attack, and then you chase him again, where he gains the power to insta-kill you. God forbid you're hit by it, because that's 10 minutes gone. Here's
you have to chase him again.
10 poison knives and steal from your family if you must. Then wait
Don't
until
do that.
he jumps down this hole, poison him repeatedly, and watch him spaz the fuck out until death. You will thank me. But as a result of everyone who isn't
so you can't attack him if he's always running away? You have to wait till he
on a level
stops?
that other games cannot match. It's only because the odds are stacked against you in ways that don't feel bullshit. Most of the time. That
Most of the time
is the main reason I play, and their fights are undoubtedly the best I've ever done in video games.
So it's a game for people that like a challenge.
In the game. In fact, a lot of your time is spent exploring the areas, so let's get into that. Lesson 1 in area design. Where the fuck am I going? Exploration is the name of the game, except it's called Bloodborne. Only this time, you don't bring smallpox and kill 20 million people. We're looking at a solid 10 this time, because the main enemies in this game are British townspeople. It's how developers made sure you didn't feel bad about killing them. The plague of beasts infecting London causes people's teeth to become beast-like, makes you aggressive at night, and slurs your speech. So it's up to you
is
to
it
stop
like
them as
German
a hunter should. If you don't look up where to go next in this game, good fucking luck. People get lost all the time. Get used to it.
I would get so lost. I hate games that are like that.
Oh, look, there's loot in this hallway. My dopamine's gonna go crazy. That's baby shit. This is daddy's exploration, where you find a route back to a place you were in 10 hours ago. And I hope you weren't expecting a mini-map or any map. Every
you don't get a mini-map at all?
Is a rabbit hole of discovery, and your hand isn't held. Case in point, Cathedral Ward is a level
no,
that
I
feels
could not
like
play this game
because it connects to fucking everything. And where you start the game is in the middle of a loop-de-loop involving torturous experimentation. Just look at the fucking map of this game. Everything overlaps. And yes, there is a level called Nightmare Lecture Hall, and no, it does not connect to the Altar of Despair, although you would
Why are
think
they not
that.
connected? No, they definitely
the
should be
lecture hall
connected.
is the smallest area, and more fittingly, 90% of the combat is graduates throwing cum at you. The game also has 2 completely secret areas that you would not find without the internet. I would tell you how to enter, but I don't want to do calculus. And what you get at the end,
calculus?
Upper
I don't like
Ward
calculus.
is legitimately a horror area in a game loved for its combat, because it's filled with enemies who act out my greatest fears. Stealing currency permanently gives me fucking chills every time I talk about it. Castle
They're vampires
is
when instead of
proof
blood
that
taking
From
money.
Software hates us all, since the best area in the entire game
So actually a
requires you to
software
go
game.
to the Field of Corn in Ohio and trek down Waldo. But it's worth it to invade the house of that parasitic queen dwelling in her demented castle, so that she may feel the wrath of the proletariat. All we have to do is kill Prince Philip, who guards the way as an eternal lich. On top of this, there are numerous NPCs and NPC quest lines spread throughout the world, all with a series of interactions with each other depending on location and timing. For instance, you could direct nuns, prostitutes, and Prince Philip to a church run by a lonely black sludge, then perform enough blood transfusions to send the nun into a yandere rage. Or you could direct them to the nice woman who runs the clinic down the street, who only wants to help and assist others. Then take
no
a
other reason in this world you want to help
clinic to discover that she has been experimenting on all of them in order to create the Blue Man Group. And if you want, you can take the umbilical cord away from her schizophrenic ass and eat it. The sky's the limit in Bloodborne quest lines. And you know what my favorite quest line is? The one where you descend into literal hell, complete with eternal punishment, insanity, and femboy fishing, the scariest of them all. I'm of course talking about the DLC, the only DLC for this game. And if you play through Bloodborne, you have to play through the DLC. I'm not giving you a fucking choice. So to learn why, you should play the best expansion ever made since Spore Galactic Adventures.
What is Spore?
Come with me on this amazing journey to find the secrets of the Bloodborne, the Old Hunters.
Part 3, the Old Hunters.
I want you to imagine hell. Now imagine hell written by H.P. Lovecraft. It will be filled with squids, immigrants, and air conditioning. This DLC has none of that, except the squids. For you see, those college kids from the lore section of the video were built fucking different. They experimented on an entire village and possibly beat up a god of the sea so fucking bad that her consciousness in the 9th dimension died. We spent an entire game.
How does that even happen?
And these
How do you
guys
explain
killed
this?
the MILF god. But anyways, in the process of this, it cursed them and all of the hunters to be doomed to a hell upon death, where they will hunt in a bloodthirsty rage without rest for all eternity.
That doesn't sound
from
fun.
A political subreddit. Case in point, this is Ludwig. He's the first boss of
Ludwig?
the DLC and has a reputation
Oh my god, it is
for
Ludwig.
causing refunds. Not because he's bad, but because he's too good for you. The first phase is
What
as
do you mean
difficult
too
for
good
me
for
as
me?
realizing that Golden Corral is not actually a real corral. But like every restaurant except Golden Corral, the rewards at the end are delicious because his second phase is even harder. Now, I'm not
What do
going
you
to lie.
mean?
This
Why does it
DLC
get harder?
has 4 bosses and 3 of the hardest bosses I have ever fought in any video game ever. So your ass will be clenched the entire time. And the
Has his opinion changed?
The third hardest is fucking concerning. Some people tell me, Max0r, your videos have gotten me through tough times because they made me laugh. But like this boss, you are the one who is truly overcoming these challenges. And I believe in your ability to beat both of them.
I don't.
King. Boss Lightning Round. The DLC has many such cases of amazing bosses, including Lady Maria, who is the basis for German's extremely creepy 8-foot-tall doll fetish. But we'll get back to that. And Orphan of Cause, who was born from the literal dead body of a god. If you enjoy the sensation of
how are you born from a dead body?
Placenta, this is the fight for you. And as with everything that From Software makes, they threw in a boss that they didn't really finish and called it a day. I'm of course talking about Lawrence, which is a very mundane name for a fire monster locked in hell. Take my advice, don't fight Lawrence. You only lose a part of yourself. Since this boss fights you by dropping off his own legs and then violently vomiting and shitting lava everywhere. I've always wanted my game about dynamic dodging and elaborate fencing to be reduced to shitty area denial like it's Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, the floor's lava.
The music of this game is pretty good, but the DLC music is fucking insane. I don't know what it is about Japanese composers being able to make better symphonies than the continent that invented them, but just take a listen.
Whoa, the shade.
Holy shit, I am alive right now.
Okay,
have you ever
that's
thought,
pretty good.
as I do, that this game is just too good, that you would really rather be playing a shittier version of the game,
which
such
is
as the engagement of the Chalice dungeons? I, of course, jest. They're fine, probably,
Why is
except for
crap?
half of them, because
Why?
Bloodborne has an optional system of infinite dungeon generation. For
What do you mean
all of
infinite
those who wish to
dungeon
break free of
generation?
the shackles of good level design.
Is this
Let's
like
talk
training
about how,
almost?
and more importantly, why.
The Chalice
First
dungeons.
of all, Bloodborne has a system of dungeons that everyone shares and dungeons that are random. For my footage, I played the shared dungeons that you can be guaranteed the pain you witness on screen is mandatory. One of the biggest strengths of Bloodborne is to have interesting and challenging enemy encounters gently rubbed with the blood-stained hands of Miyazaki. But I don't think I have to explain to you how randomizing almost every encounter in the game could be imbalanced.
A little bit, yeah.
Most enemies you encounter in the Chalice dungeons are new to spare British people your wrath.
What do you mean
so
they're
you
new?
instead fight SCP
Like they're original.
But why are
What's
we
special
here?
about that
It
one?
turns out that the entire city of London was built on a Celtic burial ground, an ancient civilization called the Sumerians who discovered the healing powers of blood and then mysteriously disappeared. Wow, I wonder what happened. This is
I
all
wonder
cool
what
theory,
they did.
But the reality is that most of the time you fight the same 4 enemies, and the first 3 dungeons can be replaced by Simon Says. My cat literally noticed the Chalice dungeons
that actually
are so
his cat?
forgotten that the developers use them to put joke enemies into the game. My favorite is the man who aggressively rolls at you.
Why does he roll like that?
Nikes. The uniqueness also extends to the
He's
bosses,
only wearing
and they're actually
shoes.
pretty cool, like Tumerian Descendant, Watchdog, and the 3 overweight men. Do you remember that basic enemy from like 2 levels? He is the boss now. Rom.
What do you mean he's the boss?
The boss again. The only thing stopping me from throwing myself into a wood chipper is the fact that Mikolash isn't back. And if you're going to have replays, you probably want to make sure that they're actually good. In fact, the bosses are so fucking imbalanced that the Watchdog fight is primarily comprised of instant kill attacks. I beat Sekiro backwards on a keyboard, and this shit is too fucking much. Now, normally that would be all, but the dungeons go deeper. What we have discussed so far is merely the surface.
This game sounds impossible.
Lying just below. These places you must never venture, for they are the save edit dungeons, whereby through wizardry, the community are able to conjure up deep, dark chasms and share them with the rest of the world. Of these,
I'm sorry, is that entire subreddit
I shall reveal to you
dedicated to this?
Is the Cub Dungeon. Yes, you heard that correctly and clearly.
Those guys again?
Dungeon is the name of the most optimal farming route ever conceived by the fucking cricket people who do this shit, whereby the player enters the chasm of Max0r and watches as a high-level boss yeets itself off a cliff. Murgo's pig fisting route can give you 10,000 echoes. This gives 83,000. And if you thought that sorcery was bad, it gets
so they literally found a way to get free money.
From the game files
Did they get rid of it?
a Chalice dungeon. Anything. This includes cut and unfinished content from the game that the developers forgot to delete, like this doggo who attacks you with invisible lightning. Overall, the Chalice dungeons
I guess they didn't.
bad.
It was in a rough draft. They never animated the lightning.
And yet, I love them. Everyone loves them because they allow us to further explore.
And they didn't remove them. That's crazy. That's so cool.
Community. Now, before we sign off, I know what you're thinking. Max0r, what about the multiplayer? That
there's multiplayer in this game
with all the footage I have, but it's dead. If this game releases on PC and it better, then I will talk about the multiplayer extensively. And finally, this game and this video would not be complete if I didn't talk about the Hunter's Dream. After all the combat, the battles, and the difficulty of this game, it's nice to have a place to recharge, purchase items, upgrade weapons, and watch as it violently burns to the ground. This is where you'll find German slowly wasting away as his soul remains captive for an eternity, and his doll waifu that he sold his existence to be with. She talks to you, levels you up,
the doll is
offers you
sentient?
advice, and German says you're allowed to have sex with her. When I fell down and felt defeated, she was there to pick me up. No. Randomly, she pretended to be impressed, and
that's why
she
claps.
Graciously standing
She's
in
a
the
robot.
background of this one shot that I took of myself.
That he used multiple
is our
times.
waifu now, and the game is perfect and complete because she is in it. Now, excuse me as I engage in the supplementary lore material. Should you get the
what
game?
material?
Yes, absolutely. I am biased.
The lore material, but what?
Physically enter Sony's headquarters and
do not actually do this.
I will be right there with you. Tasers will not stop me. I would like to
I'm
thank
sure they
the
will.
corrupt hackers and politicians funneling money into this channel directly from the taxpayer. If you would like to contribute your funds to extensive federal government corruption, you can head to my Patreon to learn more. I would also like to thank the kind denizens of the Mythbusters Smut Discord who sent me half the memes in this video. And as always, thank you for watching.
The videos are so much different. Like, it's still fast-paced, but it's not like he's talking fast. He also sounds a lot different. He must have got a new microphone since then, or maybe he just started like talking differently. This is a lot different for a Max0r video. Like I said, this is almost Devil May Cry video, which I do actually have that game on Steam. Rafat actually gifted him, and it's almost a Cyberpunk 2077, because I actually don't know anything about Cyberpunk 2077, other than that when it was released, it was kind of a massive failure, and I think they were actually offering refunds, which was kind of crazy, and they took it out of the Sony store, I want to say. I've seen like maybe clips of gameplay of like the game being broken, but I actually haven't seen what the game is about. I never watched a trailer or anything. I just know the You're Breathtaking thing. But this was Bloodborne. It's of course a From Software game, which it seems like they make a lot of games that are all kind of similar to one another that, honestly, you could show me a clip from any of them, and I couldn't tell you which game it was specifically from. I can tell you it's From Software, but I couldn't tell you which game it was, because they all kind of like have a very similar aesthetic. But I look forward to the next Max0r video, whatever that shall be. Let me know down below in the comment section. I look forward to reading your comments, and I hope every one of us today. But until next video, take care, and cue the music.
We were playing